Hello and welcome back to another lovely video. Please ignore the Easter sign behind me. I know it is kind of far past Easter now. I was too lazy to change it. So thanks for ignoring that. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about another mafia romance. Just because I love to and I love you guys. So today we are talking about specifically the Darkverse series by RuNyx, RuNxyx. So I don't know how to pronounce that. But it is 5 books as of now, which I will get to later. And they're very good, and I will get to it. But a little bit of warnings here. There will be spoilers in this video. I am going to be talking about the books, so if you want to read the series and have not yet, please do not watch this video because I will be spoiling things for you. Thank you for the support anyways, though. Come back after you read it. And then other warnings. There is sensitive topics a lot in this book. Make sure you look up trigger warnings before you read this series. Take care of yourself and make sure you're only reading things that you want to read and that you can handle. In part with that though, I am going to be slightly touching on some of the subjects because I kind of have to talk about the plot of the book. So again, pause this video and look up some of the trigger warnings for the series. And if you do not feel comfortable, that is fine. And take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Jumping right in, our first book we have is The Predator. This is Tristen, Caine, and Morana Vitailo's book. Hee. Okay, so this is kind of a Romeo and Juliet-esque vibe. They are from opposing mafias. Tristen is part of the Tenebrae one, and then outfit, and then Morana is in the Shadowport one. So cool. Morana, her dad is the leader of the Shadowport, and then Tristen, we'll get more into his backstory later, but he is just part of the inner family of the Tenebrae outfit, but he is not blood related to them. And then one of our other main characters is Dante, and he is the son of the dude of the Tenebrae outfit. Okay, also important to note, these books do take place in third person, which was an adjustment, I will admit, reading, because that is pretty daggone rare, I feel like, for romance novels. So it did take me a second of adjusting, but honestly, once I was halfway in the first book, I didn't even really realize it anymore. Subconsciously I knew, but I wasn't really thinking about it, But I know some people hate that. So sorry if you're one of those people, but you should read it anyways. But anyways, we start off with, we basically follow Morana. I think that's how you say it. For the majority of the book, she is we see her trying to Tristen in the very beginning because she thinks he bamboozled her and tricked her to get these codes that she created. She's a computer genius and girl boss slay, and she created these codes. Do I know what these codes do? No. Does anyone in the book explain what these codes do? No. They're just super dangerous. They could start a civil war, as they say, between the mafias. So really, really serious stuff here, even though we don't know what they do. And then it kind of turns into this whole thing where they begrudgingly start working together because it turns out Tristen didn't take the codes. And like I said, this could become a civil war type situation between the mafia families, which no one wants. So Morana starts working with Dante, who, remember, is the son of the actual leader of the Tenebrae outfit, and then Tristen, who's they kind of this, they kind of besties, but Dante and Tristen. But anyways, and then Tristen is very much brooding, doesn't talk, mysterious boy, and Morana is giving why don't you like me, girl? She's obsessed with Tristen just because he doesn't like her, which is kind of funny. Yeah, in the first book, basically all that happens is they're trying to find these codes. We also get introduced to Amara. Ding, 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 ding. Important character alert. She is friends with Tristan and Dante, and Tristan, Dante, and Amara all lived in the same like compound part of the Tembray outfit, but she is only there because her mom is the housekeeper to like the houses at the compound, so she's not like actually like mafia blood. Um, yeah, highlights from this book. Morana's father's awful, and she is going to Tristan for help, and like her and Tristan kind of develop this relationship that's kind of like, I don't trust you, but like I kind of trust you, you know? And we learn important things about Tristan and Dante, that they are very protective over women and children, and there's big reasons for those things, from their like past and stuff. But yeah, the first book's kind of just setting up a lot of stuff and setting up Tristan and Morana, and is also setting up like the tension between them a lot. The book was okay. I gave it 3 stars. It was nothing bad, but it was nothing like special. It was kind of just which gives it 3 stars in my books. We pick up with the Reaper right after the events of the Predator. So we're still following Morana and Tristan, but now Morana has basically disowned her father, and she is going with Tristan and Dante back to Tenbray, which she is not from and never been, and technically like not really welcome there because she's like from the rival family mafia. But Dante and Tristan are like, whatever, we're gonna bring you. Sad face, they're leaving Amara behind though, because she has to stay in Shadow Point, which will be a point later. But yeah, so basically in this book we get a lot more of Tristan and Morana and like why they are the way they are, because basically Morana doesn't really know why Tristan is both like obsessed and like wants nothing to do with her at the same time vibes with her. And it's because they have this shared history that she doesn't really know about. And I also didn't talk about it, but the Reaper is this character who has been kind of like talking to Morana through like cryptic things kind of, and just giving her advice. Also another person kind of doing the same thing of like giving her cryptic stuff is the Shadow Man, which he will become important later, but just so I put that name out there now because he has been talking to Morana since the first book, just like giving her like knowledge and being like, maybe you should look into this. And she's like, okay. And then she looks into this and then it like gives him the next clue, and then she's like, oh, so that person like knew a lot, whatever. But he'll become important later. So we kind of dive into like the belly of the beast. Like Morana is in this compound at Tenbray where she's not really welcome, and the father, I don't remember his name, Luca. I don't know, we're gonna say that's right. He is not happy and is like trying to play mind games, and especially because she is with Tristan, and like Tristan and Luca, or like Father Tenbray, is like not happy and like not like they don't really get along. So it's like he's like, great, something to use against Tristan, kind of basically. And she's like attacked here and tried to like, but she survives and like runs away, and then that like pushes her more into Tristan's arms, obviously, and they like are getting closer and closer every day. And it is a really beautiful story. I do really like how like the two characters develop. Like I was kind of annoyed that there was going to be a second book of them, but then I loved the second book of them, so I'm very happy there was a second book. But at the first book, it leaves you kind of just like about them, or at least it did for me, like lukewarm. But then this book, I was like, okay, I love them. Like I'm very happy they're together, you know? But we're learning more about their shared history. So their shared history is basically, it's complicated, so bear with me. But Tristan is 8 years older than, or 6 years older than her also, by the way, which is kind of important. But whatever. So Tristan, when he was 8 years old and Morana was like 2, Tristan had a sister that is Morana's age, but she is gone. She is missing. She has been taken, and Liam Neeson taken. Isn't that who started the movie? I don't even know. Isn't there too, like, what's that one that's like with Taylor Lautner that's kind of the same vibe? I watched it like on a bus or something. I don't even know. Anyways, not important. So he is looking for his sister and is distraught and really obviously upset. And he walks in on this super important scene, Tristan does, where Morana, as a baby, is sitting on the table, and her father and his father, Tristan's father, and the head of the Tenebrae outfit, Luca, I think is what I called him. I don't know if that's actually his name, but we're going to say Luca, are all talking and they're all having a heated discussion. And Tristan's father's like, give me my baby girl back. And Morana's dad's like, haha, like, no, like, what do you want me to do? Because basically what's been happening, multiple girls have been going missing, like babies, like 2-year-old girls. And everyone's super distraught and it's like out from under their noses. It's not like they're being like left or whatever, like they're just being like taken in the daylight. And the only one that has been returned is Morana. So clearly there's ties to the mafia here and these 3 men in particular. But we don't learn about that for a little bit later, so we'll talk about it a little bit later. But yes, important to know. And so Tristan has been looking for his sister Luna for ever since this happened 20 years ago, I believe. And basically what happens is, I keep saying that, I'm sorry. Morana's sitting on the table and Tristan's dad is like, I'm going to her if you don't tell me where my daughter is. And he's like, I'm not going to tell you. So he's about to Morana, and Tristan, his father, to save Morana, baby Morana, who is like 2 years old and has no idea what's going on. And so, yeah. So then they go home, Morana and her dad, and Tristan is disowned from his mother. And basically Luca, or like the Tenebrae outfit dude, sees all this and is like, you know what? I'll take you under my wing. Like, that's kind of crazy what you did. And you have nowhere else to go. So I'm gonna like breed you into my machine that I can use and abuse. So Morana didn't know any of this, so she's kind of shocked to find out, one, that she was missing when she was young, and then two, that like her dad literally said like, I don't care, do what you gotta do. Like, that is not the last truth bomb in this book though. No. Oh, no. We have another. So the Reaper has been contacting Morana, as I said earlier, and he's like, hey, meet up at this location. So her and Tristan go to this location, and I also should say Dante faked his so that he could go undercover to like learn more about all of this. So Amara's upset by that, and she has gone missing. And then Dante's really upset about that. Okay, just important to note, I guess, too. Anyway, so they go to meet the Reaper, and they meet the Reaper, and the Reaper basically tells them that, yes, all that happened, but missing information that child Tristan did not know was the main reason that Morana's dad, like, did not care what happened to her, was because that's not actually his daughter. Yeah, so his daughter did disappear and was one of the girls, but to teach him a lesson, they returned the Reaper's daughter to him and said that that was Morana, even though, like, they all knew it wasn't Morana, but it was, like, basically, we're not going to give you your daughter, but you can have a daughter. And then this was punishing both Reaper and Morana's dad, because then Morana's dad didn't have his real daughter with him, and she was still disappeared. And then with the Reaper, who is Morana's actual father, had to watch another man raise her and abuse her throughout the years, and like could do nothing about it. And this was punishment from the Syndicate, which is the organization that does all of these things with the girls. In this confrontation, when the Reaper's telling them all this, Dante comes out and is like, oh, hey guys. And they knew he wasn't actually like, but like still kind of dramatic. And then the two fathers, Morana's adoptive father, I don't really know, and Dante's father, the father of the Timber outfit, so like the two leaders of the mafias, come there, and they're like, what are you doing, Reaper, blah 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 blah. And then the Reaper, Dante's father, the one of the Timber outfit, and then the Reaper, so the Reaper and Dante's father are no longer. So the book virtually ends with like Morana like not like being like what, and them having more information to do with like trying to find Luna, because that's like their main purpose, is like trying to find Luna. Yeah, but it was a good book overall. It had some twists and turns, and I think, like I said, Morana and Tristan's story was like a lot better fleshed out in this one. So I gave it a 3.75. After the events of the Reaper, we jump into the Emperor, but this time we are following the story of Amara and Dante, which I was so excited for because they were like hyped up. They were the other couple being talked about the whole time, and I was like, I'm here for this. And it was actually kind of cute because it was like childhood, like we went back and forth, whatever. So I'll talk about this now. So Amara is such an amazing character. I love Amara, but she, as I said, is the housekeeper's daughter, so like that's why she's on the compound. She's not actually mafia blood, but Dante is the son of the head of the Timber outfit. So they live on like the same compound together, basically just like town, I don't know, like vibes, whatever, rich people stuff. But from like a young age, Amara, because she's like 6 years younger than Dante, I believe, she has like a massive crush on Dante. And Dante just thinks it's kind of funny. And like, obviously she's like a child and he's like, haha, no. But like, he kind of gets used to the attention. And then she sees him a person and then she's like, oh, wait, I'm like not as obsessed anymore. And then he's like, wait, why are you aren't as obsessed anymore? And she won't answer him. And then like he gets annoyed that he like doesn't have the attention anymore. Kind of interesting. But then important to note, when she is 15, she is taken. And tried to get information out of based off this conversation that she heard, like literally randomly. She was not supposed to hear it, but she randomly heard about it, and it was people talking about the syndicate. So the syndicate is behind it, obviously, and she is held there for 3 days and goes through a lot of very, 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 very awful things. But Tristan ends up finding her and saving her, and then yeah, she has this she loses her voice because of she was screaming so much. So like she has like a very soft, gentle, like it's described as like a whisper kind of a voice now. So she can't talk for like a month or two after this all happens. And Dante is super distraught by this. And he is like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be there. So every single day he visits her, every single day he talks to her and they like get closer and they start forming this like relationship, this friendship, basically. And then as she gets older and like whatever, then they start forming into like a relationship and they're both really happy and they're like, this is so lovely, we're in love, this is so fun, like, and he's very much being like, we're gonna be together, this is gonna be great, like woohoo. And then his father gets in the mix and is like, oh no you're not, and basically threatens her mother unless she moves and is exiled. Basically, she's exiled to Shadowport, the like other mafia, whatever, in this story. So that's why she's there in the first book, the first two books. And we kind of pick up where Dante has been fake and he's come back out now and Amara is gone though, because during this whole thing, she was never like updated. And we can see like when they're talking to each other, like that they have had a relationship this entire time. So we're 7 years in the future from like when this all originally happened, but they've been together for like 8 years, I think, total, but just like in secret, like while she's been exiled. But they visit each other and like Dante's like, don't lose hope, like I'm figuring things out so that we can be together basically, and all this stuff. So like when she goes, he's really distraught because he's like, she doesn't believe in me anymore. He finds her in oh my god, this other place, I don't remember, but that introduces to our next character, Alpha. He lives there. Cool. And he's also Dante's half-brother. They have the same sperm donor father. They're not actually a sperm donor, I'm just saying, because he's not a real father. Hee hee. So, yeah, that's kind of like introducing us to the next character, next place. But it's Amara left because, dun 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 dun, she's pregnant. She's pregnant and she was like, I can't take this. Dante's not even really with me. Nothing's going to change. But you remember Dante's father was, so now he's the leader. So now they can be together. So he's like, girl, no, like you need to come back. Like we're going to be together. Like this is going to be amazing. When they're coming back though, they get taken. How many times have I said that? How many people have been in the story? A million. But they do, and it's obviously super traumatic for Amara. I mean, just for anyone, but like she's reliving it, so it's extra worse. And through the trauma, she unfortunately loses one of her children because she was gonna have twins. They didn't know that, but she was. Um, and it's all really bad, and they have like spies and people after them, and they don't really know what's going on. And it's like all these people from the syndicate, but they don't really know who the syndicate is. And it's like all of this stuff's happening, and they're like, why? Yeah, and then there's this bad man. I don't remember what his like weird name is. They all have like weird names. I don't know why, but he ends up being Amara's father because he's not been in her life. And oh, Mr. X, that was his name. And he was the one that Dante's mom, and that's why he has mommy issues and like all this stuff. Basically, they have a baby girl. They name her Tempest, which I'm like, what? I read that and I was like, what do you mean that's her name? Like, come on, be nicer to her than that. But that's her name, and they are like kind of in marital and child bliss. I ranked this book 4 stars because I liked it a lot better, and I liked how they set up the like childhood to now. I liked the first half of the book way more. It was like the first half of the book was like a 5 star read to me, and then the second half of the book lost the 1 star for me. Like it wasn't bad. It was just kind of like boring, and I was just like, oh, okay, what are we doing? And yeah, but it was still good. This next book is The Finisher, and this follows Alpha and blah, 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 Zephyr. Yes, those are their names. And it's in Los Fortis, which is the place I can remember. So that's Dante's half-brother, remember, like, blah, 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 whatever, cool. Basically, this story is kind of irrelevant to, like, the other story that's happening, but, like, kind of relevant at the same time. Okay, but so Alpha and Zephyr, Alpha's like really big and scary and like has like an eye patch and is like super scarred and like huge, basically. And Zephyr knew him as a younger boy, younger lad, like 10 years ago. But he doesn't remember her. And Zephyr's like, oh, well, and they basically kiss randomly because she's like, oh my God, Alpha, like I haven't seen you in forever. Like, and she like can't believe she's seeing him again. And he just goes along with it because he's like, oh, like a hot girl's kissing me. But then he's like, who are you? And then she's like, oh, dreams kind of crushed. But she's like, I'm gonna go along with this. Let's go on like a completely clean slate. Let's just like have him like reintroduce him to me and like re-like me. So she comes up with this plan. It is a fake dating trope, or not fake dating. Oh my God, marriage of convenience, which is kind of fake dating if you think about it, but you know what I mean. So it's marriage of convenience. She needs to like to forget her inheritance, like her like heirlooms from her grandma. It was like a stupid reason, but she convinces him to marry her, and she's like so excited, and he's like, why is she so excited? Like she barely knows me, but he goes along with it because he's really curious. And she basically says, after 6 months of being married to me, I will tell you why I know so many things about you, because he's like, why do you know so many things about me? And yeah, and basically we learned that they were together, like I said, 10 years ago, and they were together for like 3 months, and they were like madly in love, and they were gonna get married, and they were so happy. And then one night Alpha and Zephyr are together, and Alpha's like, oh my gosh, wait here, I'll be right back. And then he never comes back and never calls her, and she never hears about him ever again. So that's why she's like so shocked when she sees him 10 years later. But he was not scarred and like the eye patch and stuff before. So when that happened to him, when he was attacked, he kind of lost his memory, and that's what's happening here. So their marriage was kind of failing, and then she was upset about it, and she finally told him that, and then he was like, oh, and then he was like, it's not really failing, I'm just pushing you away. So then they kind of like snuggle up and are like happier. I also should mention she has a younger sister named Zenith. Yeah, that's her name. I don't know why. But she is adopted and like 5 years younger than her. Important to note. Zephyr and Zenith go to try to find like get information about something. I think like of who attacked Alpha. I think that's the information. And it's Alpha's best friend Hector, and he'll be a character again. He's basically this awful person who's been people, and it's really bad and scary and sad and awful. He's an awful person. And while they're there, it gets truth bomb revealed that Zenith was actually Morana. Remember? Because Morana, our character, is not actually Morana. She is the Reaper's daughter, but she was given back to Morana's father because for like punishment, and the actual Morana was kept with the syndicate, and he didn't know what happened to her. This is what happened to her. She escaped when she was like 5 years old, so like 3-ish years after she was disappeared, and she escaped and then got adopted by Zephyr's family, and she's had a happy, healthy life since then. Yay for her. But ugly, snuggly, gross Hector, Zenith. So no one can be happy because she literally doesn't even get to, her and Morana, like the two Moranas like interact like once, but that's kind of it. So the Morana of our story is kind of like, oh my god, I wish I knew her. Like, I've always wondered what happened to her and like everything, and I've always felt obviously connected to her. You'll never know. This book was good, but it was kind of irrelevant, I felt like, to like the bigger story. Obviously the Morana truth bomb like connected it all, but like I don't know. I gave it a 3.75 because I liked the book and I liked the characters and I liked the story. And if it's a marriage of convenience, it's already like getting a pretty good ranking from me. I feel like I'm pretty generous with those. The next book we have is Annihilator, and this follows Lyla and Dain. And basically, okay, major trigger warnings here. This is like where major trigger warnings come into play. I'm going to try to talk about this in a way that won't get me demonetized. I'm not even monetized, but I'm imagining in a future world, manifesting, you know how it works. Okay, so Lyla is actually Luna Caine, aka Tristan's little sister, who has been disappeared for 20 plus years now. So yay, we get her story. She has been with a syndicate, which is doing very bad, disgusting, gross, awful, inhumane things, and keeping these girls and boys, and using and abusing them. So that's that. And she has been in this program for, against her will, for like 20 years now. And basically our story picks up where her name is Lyla in the book, but it is Luna, but don't get confused, but I'm going to say Lyla because that's like her name in the book. Lyla is, anytime that her services are sold, the person who does it is, and it's because this man, Dain, is watching over her and is basically like, that's not gonna happen. So this happens for 6 years of like him being like, no. And yeah, but in those 6 years, I will say, he doesn't like save her. Like, he saves her from these men, but he doesn't save her from like the syndicate, which is like, bro, what? Crazy. But basically he's like a weird character. He like is one of those that like doesn't feel emotion. He's a psychopath, and it's like, why? Or a sociopath, whatever. Why is this a character? But whatever. But he and he has like synesthesia, whatever, where like he can taste what he hears, and like he loves her voice. And he becomes like basically just obsessed with her, and he like watches over her, and it's basically like, no one can have her, only I can. And for 6 years he does this, and then finally she kind of breaks and is like, you have to actually help me get out of here. Also, truth bomb reveal, Dain is also the shadow man who I mentioned earlier, who has been talking to Morana this entire time, giving her like hints and clues of like how to find Luna, because obviously he knows where she is. And yeah, and cool. And yeah, so basically he finally gets her out after 7 years. He finally helps her get out and takes her to this like super bougie, lavish country, like mountainside house. And Layla is struggling, obviously, a lot. She's never been free since she was 2. And so she's like learning a lot about herself. He gets her like help and gets her all these things, whatever. And it is a pretty good, beautiful like recovery and survivor story, I would say. I enjoyed it, but obviously it's not for everyone. Another truth bomb in this book is that the reason that Dain and Lyla ever even met in the first place was because Layla was pregnant and gave birth to a little boy, and she didn't want him to end up with the syndicate, so she gave them to this man she saw and was like, please take him away. And he was like, you trust me? And she was like, well, you couldn't do anything worse to my son than they would, so please, I'm putting my faith in you. And then he was like obsessed with her giving him that trust and that she would like do anything for her son. So he did. And also his name's Xavier, and Xavier has been with Tristen and Morana. I didn't say that, but that happened in the third book. So he's been with Tristen and Morana since then. Yeah, but the thing is, Lyla knows nothing about herself. She doesn't know she has a brother. She doesn't know that where her son is. She doesn't know her actual name's Luna. She doesn't know any of these things, but Dain knows all of these things. But he doesn't want to tell her until she, like, won't leave him, until basically she's, like, depends on him. So I did not love this book because it was like, huh? Like so many times, like things where it was supposed to be like romantic, it was like, and I know it's a super complicated story and like whatever, and he's trying to take down the whole syndicate, which like takes a lot of time, and like he can't do rush it and whatever, but it's like, yeah, but like what's happening? What's happening here? And it was just a lot. It was too much for me. I did not enjoy it. I gave it 1 star. So those are the 5 books that are out. I did say that they are 5 books, but there is a 6th book that is supposed to be coming. We don't know when. It's going to be called The Syndicator, and it's supposed to be like novellas of all the different couples coming together because Lyla has not met Tristen. She just found out about him. She's not reintroduced to Xander, her son. None of them have been reunited in any way. The syndicate has not been taken down completely. So there's a lot of like loose ends and plot holes happening right now. The author has spoken about, because I think the last book came out, well, the last book, The Annihilator, came out in 2021. So I was kind of shocked that the book wasn't out yet. Like I thought the book was gonna be out then, but the author has spoken and said that they had a lot of complicated personal stuff happening. You can look on their Instagram if you want to see into it more. They talk about it more on there, but basically they stopped writing for a while, and I believe they're self-published authors, so like they don't have as strict of deadlines, obviously. And they are still finished writing it as of December of 2023, so quite recently. So they said they think it's going to come out in 2024, but we don't really know when or if that's happening or if it's going to be another year or whatever's happening. I don't know if I'll read the 6th book just because I can kind of imagine it's just going to be like a novella. It's not like a full book, so it's like, well, it is going to be it's going to be multiple novellas, so like it'll be a book altogether, but you know what I mean? It's just going to be like the happy ending, so I can kind of just imagine that in my head, so I think that's kind of just what I'm going to do, but we'll see if it comes out, if I'm interested in it. But there is a 6th book that if you want to read the series or have already read the series and didn't realize, there will be a 6th book at some point. So that was the Dark Verse series. I did enjoy it. I mean, most of the books got over 3 stars for me, which is pretty good. One even got 4, which is like pretty high. I thought it was good. I did think it was a bit darker than I usually go, especially The Annihilator, and I did not like that book because of it. And it makes it hard to suggest to other people because I do not think it's a book that a lot of people can read. And I respect that, but it was still fun, still good. If you read all the trigger warnings and you want to proceed ahead, then I definitely think you should read it. I love reading mafia romances. It gives me so much joy, and I love talking about them with you guys even more. So thank you for watching this video. And if no one told you today, you're beautiful, wonderful, amazing, kind, talented, and so on and so forth. I hope you have an amazing day, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.